the Bulk, Caitlin Clark with Connor and Alan Zucker at Lucas Oil Stadium. Now, Alan Zucker, I believe that is the guy that we got to keep in mind. The one comment said, this college Caitlin. Now, Caitlin Clark did lose a lot of muscle, man. To me, Caitlin Clark had to go back to who she was pre-Indy.
Caitlin Clark's recent physical transformation has sparked endless discussion, but the real story has nothing to do with weight loss. The truth sits in plain sight in a single photo taken at the Indiana-Ohio State game on November 23rd. In that image, standing next to her inside Lucas Oil Stadium, is Alan Zucker, a powerhouse in the sports industry whose presence signals one of the biggest behind-the-scenes shifts in WNBA history. Most fans saw nothing more than Clark attending a football game. But anyone who recognized Zucker instantly understood that a seismic career decision had quietly taken place. Zucker isn't just another agent. He's the man behind Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Arch Manning, and even the business empire surrounding Taylor Swift. And now, for the first time, he represents Caitlin Clark. This change didn't happen casually. Clark officially parted ways with her previous agency and signed with one of the most influential dealmakers in professional sports. This isn't a step forward, it's an entire career reset. The Nike contract announced in December 2024, 8 years, $28 million, was negotiated under her former representation. On paper, it looked impressive. In reality, it dramatically undervalued the most watched, most influential women's basketball player of her generation. Clark's star power wasn't properly leveraged, and the numbers prove it. By switching to Alan Zucker, Clark is signaling a complete shift in how she wants her career managed. She's aligning herself with a team that has turned athletes into industries, not just players. That single photo, easily overlooked by the casual fan, marks the beginning of a new era for Caitlin Clark, one driven by power, strategy, and long-term vision.
And I think she should definitely, you know what I'm saying, maybe reach out to him if she have not already. This comment stated, it looked like Caitlin Clark has a new agent. That's how I read this picture. Now, somebody else, then it goes on to say, and she lost a very lot of weight. So I believe this Alan Zucker guy, right? One of these guys, let me see here. I think this picture might have came from
Caitlin Clark's decision to sign with Alan Zucker becomes even clearer once you understand the context around her previous deals. The Nike endorsement contract that went viral in late 2024, 8 years, $28 million, was celebrated publicly but privately raised tough questions. For an athlete who delivered 3.22 million TV viewers, sold out arenas, and broke every ratings metric in women's basketball, that number didn't match her impact. That entire negotiation happened under her former representation. And while the deal brought exposure, it left millions, possibly tens of millions, on the table. So Clark made a decisive move. She switched agents, signing with Excel Sports Management under Alan Zucker. This wasn't a simple agency change. It was a strategic correction. Excel has a unique advantage. In 2023, Goldman Sachs acquired a majority stake in the company, instantly giving Excel deep financial backing and access to high-level deal structures. But here's the twist that most people missed. Excel represents Under Armour as a brand client. That explains why Steph Curry publicly campaigned for Clark to sign with UA. There was a direct agency pipeline ready to create a massive offer. Instead, Clark ended up with Nike, a deal that multiple insiders say was undervalued. Her switch to Excel signals she's done accepting good enough. She wants elite representation, elite negotiation, and elite long-term strategy. With Zucker, she finally gets all three. This move sets the stage for a dramatically different business chapter of her career, one where Caitlin Clark is treated not just as a player, but as a global asset with generational value.
A couple months ago, let me see here, Goldman Sachs. Pull this up. Goldman Sachs Sports. Let's pull this up. Yeah, so we all remember this, right? So this right here, Goldman Sachs acquires majority stake in Excel Sports Management. Now, Goldman Sachs was already reaching out to Caitlin Clark and already doing business with her. You know, I believe she had a sponsorship with them, if I'm not mistaken, her rookie year. That's just Goldman Sachs, the company. And I believe that could be a big reason why they decided to purchase the company.
Look at the roster of athletes Alan Zucker has shaped. Trevor Lawrence locked in a 5-year, $275 million extension with the Jacksonville Jaguars back in June 2023. And that deal didn't happen by luck. Peyton Manning became one of the highest-earning pitchmen in all of professional sports while working under Zucker. These aren't just contracts. These are long-term empire-building agreements. And now Caitlin Clark is stepping directly into that world. She didn't move from an average agent to a slightly stronger one. She jumped from someone who negotiated good enough deals to someone who manufactures billion-dollar brands from scratch. This isn't an upgrade. It's a complete reinvention of her business strategy.
That's why Steph Curry was so mad. See, y'all, all of this is starting to make sense now. See, Under Armour was represented by XL. So they had a direct line to get Caitlin Clark. Under Armour did. I can't lie, man. I ain't rocking no Under Armour shoes. And Caitlin Clark probably signed with Nike because she liked to wear Nikes, bro. Like, who actually liked to wear?
The physical change matters just as much as the business shift. From the end of the WNBA season in October to that November photo at Lucas Oil Stadium, Caitlin Clark clearly dropped noticeable muscle mass. She's returning to the leaner Iowa version of herself, the version that shattered NCAA records and lit up college basketball in a way no women's player ever had. That isn't accidental. Her game actually dipped when she added too much bulk for her rookie WNBA season. Her three-point accuracy slipped. Her signature deep-range shots became inconsistent. Even Steph Curry publicly hinted that she needed to readjust her mechanics. Now she's reversing that build. And with Alan Zucker overseeing her career, the motive becomes clear. This isn't simply about on-court performance. It's about brand consistency. The version of Caitlin Clark America fell in love with was the Iowa version. The fluid shooter, the swagger, the long-range killer. That's the version that sells. And that's the version Zucker is preparing to market at the highest level.
Caitlin Clark is pictured with here. This is Alan Zucker. That's him in the far left there, right? And he's chilling there with Caitlin Clark Connor. I don't know who this gentleman is, but let's read about this Alan Zucker. So Alan Zucker is a partner at XL Sports Management. Who do he represent? The Mannings. It looked like he definitely represents the Mannings. Oh, so he represents both Mannings. Agent for Mannings, Taylor Swift. Bro, so he got Taylor Swift too. Wow. Alan Zucker clients. This
XL Sports Management's client list reads like the upper tier of modern sports. Beyond the Mannings and Trevor Lawrence, they represent Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Trae Young, Draymond Green, names that aren't just athletes, they're global brands. But XL's approach is what separates them. They don't just negotiate contracts, they build long-term earning power. Peyton Manning is the perfect example. When he retired, his post-career income actually skyrocketed because XL had spent years building his brand infrastructure. Media ventures, ownership stakes, endorsement pillars, all set up long before he threw his last pass. That's the model being applied to Caitlin Clark. She's only 22. She could easily play 15 more years. And under Alan Zucker, those 15 years won't just be a playing career. They'll be the foundation of a 50-year business empire.
New agent. If this site right here is legit, what is this right here? Y'all look. Investigating clients, Alan Zucker. Trevor Lawrence, football. Clayton Kershaw, baseball. Caitlin Clark, basketball. Whoa. Hold up. This probably is for real. This probably is for real, y'all. Let me fact check this for I yay or nay this. That's him on the far left. But this site right here is saying that she signed with him. She's with him now. Wow. Oh yeah. She definitely Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Arch Manning, Trevor Lawrence, just Caitlin Clark. She has a new agent.
This is where the move becomes truly massive. Caitlin Clark didn't switch agents because she wanted slightly better endorsement deals. She switched because her previous representation fundamentally undervalued her. The Nike contract proves it. 8 years, $28 million, about $3.5 million per year. Meanwhile, Sabrina Ionescu reportedly earns over $5 million annually from Nike, and Caitlin draws more ratings, more media buzz, more cultural reach, and more commercial impact than any current women's basketball player. That gap is a result of poor negotiation. Alan Zucker doesn't make those kinds of mistakes. When Trevor Lawrence signed his contract extension, he became the highest-paid quarterback in NFL history at that moment, not because he was the best QB, but because Zucker understood leverage, timing, and pressure points better than anyone in the room. Now apply that level of strategy to Caitlin Clark. Her leverage has never been higher. She drove WNBA ratings to historic highs. She sold more jerseys than anyone. Her games required larger arenas because demand exploded. Yet her endorsements don't reflect any of that. That changes instantly with Zucker. And with Goldman Sachs backing Excel Sports Management, Caitlin won't just be signing endorsement deals. She'll be entering equity arrangements, revenue-sharing partnerships, and media-integrated contracts. When her Nike agreement comes up again, it won't be a simple shoe deal. It'll be a full-scale business partnership. And with the WNBA CBA expiring soon, Caitlin Clark now has the most powerful negotiator possible behind her. Someone who has navigated multiple CBAs across different sports and always walks away with maximum leverage.
Because Erin Kane fucked up the Nike deal. She completely slaughtered her Nike deal, bro. Wow. For the longest time, I thought that Caitlin Clark was her uncle. Nope, an agent. He's her agent. She fired Erin Kane. Sending her with one of the partners of XL currently provides cues to Caitlin Clark is moving exactly what. Yeah, guys. I'm expecting big change from Caitlin Clark 2026, bro, because she just...
Caitlin Clark's recent move isn't just another line in a headline. It's a complete rewriting of her future. When you look at the level of talent Alan Zucker represents, the magnitude becomes clear. This is the same agent who turned Trevor Lawrence into a $275 million franchise quarterback and helped build Peyton Manning into one of the highest-earning off-court icons in sports history. Zucker doesn't negotiate deals, he builds empires. And now, Caitlin Clark is stepping straight into that blueprint. Her old representation secured a decent Nike contract, sure. But decent isn't what you give the most-watched female basketball player in the world. That 8-year, $28 million deal looks more like a missed opportunity than a victory. Sabrina Ionescu reportedly earns more per year, yet Caitlin drives higher ratings, sells more jerseys, and brings more attention to the sport than anyone else. That discrepancy didn't happen by accident. It happened because someone negotiated below her value. That era is officially over. Zucker understands leverage the way only elite deal-makers do. He knows how to time negotiations, how to create bidding wars, how to push brands into paying what a star truly deserves. And with Excel Sports Management, backed by Goldman Sachs' billion-dollar acquisition, Caitlin Clark now has something no women's basketball player has ever had at this scale: access to institutional capital, equity-based deals, revenue-sharing structures, long-term financial engineering, and the same infrastructure used to build generational wealth for major NFL and NBA superstars. But the shift isn't only happening off the court, it's happening physically, too. Caitlin has noticeably slimmed down since the end of the WNBA season, returning to the leaner Iowa version of herself. That's the version that shattered NCAA records, the version that millions fell in love with, the version that made her the face of college basketball. Bulking up for the WNBA hurt her mechanics. Her shooting dipped. Even Steph Curry hinted she needed to adjust. Now she's stepping back into the style that made her a phenomenon. And that aligns perfectly with Zucker's vision of branding her as the electric, fearless, record-breaking superstar she originally was. Excel's track record makes the strategy obvious. They don't manage athletes, they architect brands. Giannis, Tatum, Trae Young. These aren't just clients, they're long-term business entities. Peyton Manning earned more after retirement because Excel spent years building his off-court infrastructure. That's the model being applied to Caitlin. At 22, she isn't planning for the next season. She's planning for the next 50 years. And here's the wildest part. The sports media barely noticed any of this. That Lucas Oil Stadium photo sparked conversations about her weight, her appearance, her personal life. But almost nobody recognized Alan Zucker standing right beside her. That single detail was the entire story, and mainstream coverage missed it completely. If LeBron switched agents, it would dominate headlines. Caitlin does it, and it becomes a footnote, which is exactly why she needed this move. Her previous representation operated like women's basketball should be grateful for whatever scraps the market offered. Zucker doesn't operate in that world. His clients don't accept offers. They set the terms. He doesn't negotiate from weakness. He negotiates from dominance. And with the WNBA's upcoming CBA negotiations on the horizon, Caitlin Clark now has the most powerful negotiator possible sitting on her side of the table. The league won't just be paying for a player. They'll be negotiating with an entire economic engine. Caitlin Clark changed the sport. She transformed viewership, demand, media attention, and revenue. And under Alan Zucker's guidance, she's finally positioned to be compensated at the level her impact deserves. This isn't a career adjustment. This is a complete evolution.
This is the first time y'all hearing about this. I'm telling you, people going to have to shout your boy John Liquidator out because I just exposed it all. So this is the first time y'all hearing about this. This is major news. And until next time, shake the haters off.